Hello, everyone. Question for you. What if the greatest breakthrough in your life came right after your hardest battle? Welcome to Seizing Your Greatness. I'm Julianne Meyer, and today's guest is living proof that mindset isn't just a tool, it's the difference between surviving and thriving. Nicole Kernohan is a high performance coach and the chief operating officer of Elevated Worldwide, where she trains entrepreneurs and business leaders to rewire their minds for lasting success. But her journey started with something far more personal. After being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2003 and experiencing temporary paralysis, Nicole made a decision, and that was to heal. Within 2 months, that's it, just 2 months, she fully recovered and has managed her MS naturally ever since. With a background in corporate strategy, business consulting, and personal development, Nicole has built a life rooted in impact, transformation, and service. Now, as a certified life and business strategist, she helps others do the same, unlocking potential, shifting patterns, and creating permanent results. Not to mention, she is an author. So I'm excited, Nicole. It's an honor to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Excited to be here.
Yay. We've been wanting to have this conversation for a while now, but you've been so busy writing, and I'm so excited. Before I get to my first question, I want to say something to the audience, and that is that I had no idea that you had MS before today because I was doing a little bit of extra research, and I thought, wow. So you know of what you speak, which I think is truly remarkable, and being able to be positive even when things aren't going the way you want them to. So I found that out about you on the internet, obviously, but what's something that the audience won't find on the internet about you?
Oh, that's a great question. You know what? I think something that people often find interesting when they learn about me is that I have my black belt in karate, and it is cool. It's awesome. And when you meet me in person, I'm 5 feet tall and I'm kind of petite. So it sort of isn't the expected mold, but you can be small and you can still be powerful, fast, sneaky, right?
I
So
love that. And the amount of
that's
discipline and
often
dedication, it takes to achieve that. So, wow, that is remarkable. You are constantly breaking barriers and changing stereotypes. And I truly do appreciate that. I mentioned that you're an author and you've been in some different books with other people, but have been creating this new book that's just you, and just in the most powerful way because you have such an amazing voice. I would love for you to talk a little bit about that, and we'll go from there.
okay. So exciting. Yes, depending on the time you're watching this,
Uh-huh.
the book may be out, but right now it's in editing. It's in the editing process, it's in publishing, and it is such a meaningful piece. I've been working on it for a year and a half. And why I wrote it, it's called, so let me give you the running title. It is The Art of Living Boldly Joyful. And the
Mm.
word boldly is the most important part in my mind, because it's the idea that anyone and everyone deserves to feel the experience of joy, of authenticity, of feeling freedom, regardless of circumstance, right? Like when you mentioned my MS journey, that was an awareness of me, of my life, of how I showed
Mhm.
up, because I was like, I'm feeling great, and everyone around me was like, why are you feeling great? You're paralyzed. And it was just like, I didn't know at that time, but that was a kickoff to me studying joy and studying psychology and kind of understanding the mind at a deeper level.
There's something that I love about that. It's that joy and happiness are a little bit different, and nobody really necessarily knows the difference. I know what my working definition of joy is, but I'm curious what yours is.
You know what? Joy actually, when I think of the experience of joy, it is not something that you have to find or create. It is
Mhm.
actually inside you. It's always been there. It's always available to you. And I also kind of consider it I would call the word frequency. It's kind of, I know that kind of sounds wonky maybe sometimes if you're not familiar with that, but it is, it's a state. It's a state of being. And I also might even call it within yourself. It's a way with which you view the world.
Mm.
It's
I'm really.
an identity rather than just a feeling on its own.
Oh, I think that that's a beautiful way to put it, and that's exactly how I look at it too, because happiness is required on outside things. Like, I'm happy, for example, I'm getting a new car. I'm happy about that, but that doesn't bring me joy. I'm not joyful because of that. It's happy. It's a happy thing. For me, yeah, joy is definitely more of like a way of being versus a fleeting feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I would actually call it a lens with which you view the world almost. And that's why when you are being joyful, being boldly joyful,
Hmm.
it comes from within. And you can, like in my own journey, in my own life, I can have something negative happen and I can observe it, and you can have all the sad, you can have all the, you don't have to ignore it. You can feel down. We're meant to have all emotions, and I can observe that negative circumstance and
Hmm.
still choose to laugh about something 1 second later or feel joyful in the day. And
Hmm.
it's just this, it comes from it creating an inner state, and I actually would say an inner state of peace.
Yeah, absolutely. It is an inner state of peace because this is part of it. And, I don't know. I just love this idea of it just being so much more than reliant on everything. And like you said, you could just have it's within you, even no matter what's going on around you. I think lens is the perfect description. How did you come to that? I mean, was it something that just was like you realized, or it was something that you brought about? Does that make sense?
Yep, a little bit of both. I would say I've been curious about the vibe that people give off
Hmm.
for many, many years, like
Yeah.
as long as I could almost remember. I notice, and you can notice when someone walks in a room. I write this right in chapter one. When someone enters a room, and if someone is in a state of being, in a state of, I would say joy, that's the word I use, but it's really the state of peace, joy, authenticity. When they
Hmm.
show up that way, you can almost feel it when they walk in the room. You're like, ooh, I want to be closer to that person. It changes the energy. It lightens the room. It feels brighter when someone's in a state of anger or frustration or sadness, not from a place of judgment, but from a place of awareness. You can tell they're
Hmm.
closed, and they're not
Yeah.
letting that light that is available to them out. And so it started with experiencing people and observing um, people in different states, and having this desire for me to want to help the person who was in the down state, to
Yeah.
say, oh, I should go talk to that one.
Well,
That's kind of the initiation of the idea.
I
Yeah.
love that. And I'm curious too, because it's interesting that, well, interesting in a good way that you chose boldly, because in my opinion, it takes courage to be that joyful in your life. And how did you recognize that? I mean, how did you see that? Because, you know, a lot of people are put down for being joyful, in fact, because they're not energetically, it doesn't match whoever they're with. And it's kind of like, well, I'm going to bring you down because I'm not comfortable with you being joyful. But to be bold about it, what does that mean to you?
So it's interesting. I took a test. It's called Strengths Finder from a company
Hmm.
called Gallup, maybe 6, 7 years ago, and the number one. It's like a personality assessment type of thing or characteristic, and the number one characteristic out of 34 that I came out with was positivity. And I was a little bit annoyed because I'm like, what about intelligence and hardworking? And like, I am a business owner and I have my black belt. I'm like, okay, positivity it is. I guess that's who I am. But what that was just a point in time, but an awareness for me, because I believe that's a fairly accurate assessment. We've looked into a lot of assessments of that nature. It allowed me to feel confident calling my positivity a strength. This is a
Mm.
gift. This is a strength. It's right, that Marianne Williamson quote, when you let your own light shine, you unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. I
Yeah.
do believe, like, and I am aware, and I think you can observe and be conscientious and compassionate about with your surroundings, and be
Hmm.
self-aware if someone is suffering significantly, obviously have compassion and understanding. And you can still be a light and bring them up. It just might show up. It might look a little differently from excitement one day versus just peace and love another day. But it's always this state, different variations of joy coming through.
I really like that because you're right. It doesn't have to look exactly the same every day. And that's where that peace element comes in, because sometimes it's like a safe space too that you can be for someone. I'm going through a rather difficult moment in time personally. And I have a few people in my life that are joyful, and it makes it easier for me to be. They don't require me to be joyful also. That's the thing. They don't require me to be upbeat and happy. It's just I'm allowed to be exactly as I am and just be around that energy. And so I think that that's what you're saying too. It's like you're not going. It's not a mission to make people not feel what they're feeling, but it's more like you just feel peace in the storm, and maybe somebody can feel a piece of that when they're around you too, even.
Yep. Such a good awareness. And I actually like where this is kind of shifting a bit, because this is another piece that I share in the book and that I really believe is that, like, the, joy is not just the bubbly, upbeat, positive
Mm-hmm.
essence. I love
Right.
that when I'm in that, when others are in that, it's super fun.
It
And
is.
and right, joy is being able to, I like what Wayne Dyer says. He says, be someone who's open to everything and attached to nothing, where you
Mm.
can just accept your circumstance as is, and there's always ands, there's no but, and work to evolve and grow and shift. it's
Mhm.
it's like accepting what is, while
Mhm.
also knowing you are worthy of change and creating more and shifting, right? There's another coach that I had worked with that said, you are exactly perfect just the way you are, and you can get better. So it's like
Exactly.
accepting as is, and
Mhm.
knowing you're worthy and capable of growth.
I love that because it's not coming from a place of I need to fix something, I'm broken. It's coming from I want more and I deserve more, and why not? Why not is a better question than why. Why
Why
not?
not? And why not you? And why not now?
Yeah, why not now? Why wait? Yeah, I think that a lot of us attach meaning, these extra stories and meaning to like thoughts, feelings, words, emotions, all of these things. And instead of just allowing them to be without that judgment, it's easier said than done, obviously. But yeah, I like the idea of joy being peace also, like not going down to the depths of sorrow every time something sorrowful happens.
And I love and. We're using a lot of ands
Uh-huh.
today.
And exactly.
And if you do slip into the depths of sorrow one time and you catch yourself and then you're like, oh, darn, I'm down here, then be
Hmm.
like, okay, just be kind to yourself, because joy would just be like, oh, it's okay that you're down there. Let's just come back up now. Right?
Exactly.
It's like, don't be hard on yourself when you don't do the things that you know will make you feel better. It's like such an
Yeah.
interesting path.
No, I like that. No shame, no making wrong. It's okay because we are human and we're here to have this human experience. So, it's
Mhm.
okay to, and sometimes, I don't know about you, but every once in a while, I feel like feeling those feelings and I let them happen and go through me and I let them go. I don't stay there. I don't camp there, but I feel them, and then I release them, which is something that I think is really important so that we don't hold on to those emotions and like keep them, like we've been talking about, making them wrong. We don't need to
Right.
make anything wrong. And I
Yep.
like this idea too, because like you mentioned, we're saying a lot of ands. Another way that I love that is it's not either or. It doesn't have to be either or. It could be both. so,
Totally.
what's something that you have? Because here's actually a better question. Every once in a while, you mentioned like being human and maybe slipping into those feelings where we just feel less than joyful. How do you after recognizing that, flip it back without making yourself wrong?
One of the most powerful tools that I use and share and coach others is uh, practicing gratitude. And I follow a certain process and steps. And the interesting thing when I talked about kind of joy being a frequency, right?
Mhm.
Gratitude is really close to joy, and so is love.
Yeah.
Gratitude, joy, and love are just these beautiful states that all fill your soul. And when you feel it, it feels good, right? Shame, worry, doubt, fear generally don't feel good. And so it's not
Mhm.
whether it's right or wrong. It's like, is it working for you or not working for you? And if it's not working for you to stay in that low state for very long, then this is a good opportunity to shift. So gratitude is a tool though, right? Because gratitude is something where you can actually look around you in your world, in your
Mhm.
current reality. You don't have to make up a future thing. You can just say, stop right now in this present moment. What are some things that I can be thankful for and that I can truly feel the appreciation for? Maybe are there ways that I can even act in generosity
Mhm.
and kind of express that gratitude all the way outward to someone else? So it's like a quick moment to say, and it doesn't have to be something big. It's like, I'm grateful for this clean drinking water, that I live in a country where I have access to cold, fresh, clean drinking water on a hot
Mhm.
day. And it could be something bigger like family or some loved ones. Just it is a tool that if you just pause for a second, take one
Yeah.
breath, think of some things you're thankful for, feel the feeling of it. Don't just think it, feel it for a second. In
Yes.
2 minutes, you can start to feel that shift up towards the state of joy.
It's interesting. I started doing this practice where I write down three things I'm grateful for every morning with trying not to repeat. I'm sure I have, but not remembering that I have. But it's really interesting because it opens up your eyes to all the things that are available. Yes, there's things like family or a specific moment, but then there's little things like clean sheets. Like, you know what? I had some clean sheets last night, so I'm very grateful for that. And my husband was saying after I started doing this for a little while, he goes, something's changed with you. And it really does, whether you realize it or not, it stacks up in a good way.
Oh my goodness. That is so exciting, Julianne. That is like such a fundamental piece of work that is meaningful to me, is helping people through gratitude to shift their lens.
Yeah.
When someone notices in you something's different about you, you're supposed to notice that in you. It's because you are starting to shift the lens. You're
Hmm.
starting to see things differently. You're starting to wake up and say, oh, wow, there is a lot of goodness around. Maybe there is enough time. Maybe I am enough when
Yeah.
you get all the way to that point versus when you're not intentionally in a state of gratitude. Society and our lives in North America typically are showing us all the lack, all of what we don't have enough of, all of where there isn't enough time and there isn't enough money and there isn't enough love and right. So it's
Hmm.
what you just expressed was like shifting of the lens with which you view yourself and the world, and someone else noticed, your spouse noticed, but others will notice too, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's so important, because now anyone you cross paths with can
Uh-huh.
feel that you're in a better state even without words.
Well, exactly. And it's interesting too. I'm glad you mentioned that, but I want to point out too that for somebody that close to me that just doesn't like when you're with somebody every day, you don't notice those things because you're so used to the gradual change. But for him to notice with me was like the biggest thing because he's not exactly the most observant person, but also the fact that he did means that there was that big of a change that even he could see that. So obviously other people could too, but he was the one that decided to be like, oh, guess what? I
Yep,
see this in you.
you're
So
so right.
yeah. So
Mhm.
I popped up your website again. I just want to mention before we get to the very end of the show, this is where people can go not only to meet with you, but also to buy your book that's coming out in the very near future. So if you are watching before it's released, then just get on the list. And if you're watching after it's released, you can just go ahead and buy it. And plus on Amazon, you mentioned on Amazon that it would be available there as
Yep,
well.
it'll be on Amazon in Canada
Yeah.
and the US,
Oh, I
and
love that.
absolutely.
I love that so much. So I'm curious too. What are some other things that happen like maybe even physically, when your state of being is in more of a joyful state?
Okay. Oh, I love this question. What a powerful question, because I also between corporate business strategy and then running a coaching company and getting into positive psychology, between that for 3 years, I got into health and nutrition and wellness. Because of my MS journey, I wanted to help people with health. And as I was doing that, I realized that their mindset was more important. So that's why I evolved. Point being,
Amen.
what I discovered through those years, I got my nutritional designation. I studied so much in the health field that I noticed that your mental state, and you hear lots of things, the gut brain connection or mind body connection, when your mental state is in a place of more peace, joy in its holistic form, which does not mean just a bubbly, upbeat, excited, right? We talked about that. Just
Yeah.
peace, joy. I would call it calmness, faith, and trust. Accepting what is while also working towards more, and just know that you're worthy of more and knowing that others are. When you're in that essence, your body works better. Your thyroid works better. Your adrenal glands your stress hormones are balanced out. Your digestive system is 10 times better. Not factually 10 times, but it is substantially more effective. Your digestive enzymes can work better. Your intestines can function better. You can sleep better. You have more energy. You can feel stronger. You also are in a state where you can come up with solutions. So if you are having
Mhm.
challenges in your business, with your team, if you have a team, with your family, in your health, when you're in a state of more optimistic peace, presence, calm, joy, you can come up with creative solutions. You can think, oh, maybe I should get this checked out. Oh, maybe there's a person I could talk to help me with this business challenge or this personal challenge.
Mhm.
Your brain, so both physiologically,
Yeah.
100%, your body shifts, and when you're in that state, it also allows you to come up with solutions. It is literally impossible to come up with positive solutions when you're in despair, grief. Like it's like when you're in total survival mode, your brain
Mhm.
can't even think of the solutions that would be available to you if you
Yeah.
could just slightly. So
No,
go
I'm
ahead.
glad you brought that up too, because it's very true. There is, what is it? The saying that you can't solve a problem with the same thinking that got you into it. Uh, it's the same idea though, when it comes to, if you're in fight or flight, you think about it, your focus literally just goes down to like nothingness. So if there's something over here that's going to be the solution, you're just you're not going to find it. You're not going to see it. You're not going to know it. It's outside of like the tunnel vision. So I'm glad you
Yep.
brought that up. And also like the actual physical, differences. That's truly remarkable. We
Yep.
are running low on time. We have a few minutes left, but I wanted to ask you, what is something you wish I would have asked you, or is there something that you wanted to mention now?
You know what? I think there is one other tool that is really powerful in our human ability to shift from negative to neutral to
Mm-hmm.
positive or joyful. And it's the power of words.
Mm.
You choose, and you know how we've been catching the word and instead of but, right? The words that you use to describe yourself, your circumstances, others, are a reflection of how you currently see things. And if they're negative, if it's I don't have enough, there isn't enough, I can't, I'm not, that's creating the same as what you've already been experiencing. So use the power of words to say, up until now, I call them progressive affirmations. Up until now, I've struggled with this, and now I'm choosing to see things differently. So use your words.
I love that so much, because that is truly something that up until now, because you're honoring what you're thinking, feeling, seeing, and also creating something new, and that way you can get that feeling of it versus just the words, the talk, because you have to kind of feel that too for it to actually make a huge difference. So I love that. I wanted to pop up your website one more time, and say, could you give us your working title again, please?
The Art of Living Boldly Joyful is the current working title. It'll be something along those lines. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be able to share it with the world.
So am I. I'm excited to read it. I got a sneak peek for those that are watching, and it's really remarkable. So, um, definitely worth a read. And I'm the kind of person that will have, I've got like 30 books that I haven't read yet, but that one would go to the top of the list. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
anyway, Nicole, we are out of time for today. I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here, sharing your wisdom, and spending a few joyful minutes with us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And for those that are watching, thank you so much for being here today. We will be back again next week. Until then, enjoy your life and be joyful. We'll see you soon.